Hi guys, it's Lena here again. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about something I get asked about all the time. And that is, how do I know if I have a hypothyroid condition? I get my bloods tested and they always come back clear, but I feel like something's not right. So I'm going to talk to you today. I'm going to talk about what I think are the top 5 indicators to tell you that something is wrong. And they're from my personal experience and from what I've witnessed. I actually was more on the hyperthyroid side before I had my thyroid removed. And now I'm obviously hypothyroid from having my total thyroidectomy, which I'm sure you guys probably all know if you've watched my videos before. Okay, so before I get into what my top 5 are, I just want to say that I feel your frustration right now, because when you look online or even go to the doctor and see what the symptoms are to whether you think you might be hyper or hypo, they are so ambiguous. Like, they're so broad. They're things like depression, memory loss, trouble focusing, weight gain, weight loss. Like, who hasn't experienced any of those things? Like, I think an average person would experience one of those symptoms on an average week. So it's really ambiguous and very hard to pinpoint. So hopefully what I'm going to do today is sort of give you a more specific description of what the symptoms are with those conditions. Okay? So here goes. Number 1, and it's my favorite one. And it's the one that I tell people all the time, and it's honestly the most obvious to spot. And that is a crazy, but awesome, but crazy craving for chocolate. Like, chocolate is insanely good, and you cannot get enough chocolate when you are either hyperthyroid, more hyperthyroid. You are just crazy for chocolate. You could eat chocolate breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could have a 6-course meal and still want to eat chocolate after being stuffed with food. Chocolate just like makes you go insane. Now, I know that this is a perfect example of like, what person on the planet doesn't like chocolate, right? Everyone likes chocolate. This is the difference. When you have a thyroid problem, the more chocolate you eat, the better chocolate tastes. So with each mouthful of chocolate, it just keeps getting better and better and better, which is one of the reasons why you can't stop and why you keep reaching for more and more and more, because it just tastes so good and it's just delicious. Like, nothing to this day, nothing has ever replaced how good chocolate used to taste. Now, how I feel after having my thyroid removed is so different. When I eat chocolate now, and I think this is what's normal for most people, I can have, for a typical example would be Ferrero Rochers, the little gold balls. I could eat 2 or 3 of them, and by the 3rd one, the chocolate flavor starts to, in my mouth, turn really, really sweet, like a sharp, sweet flavor. And it's to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm starting to feel sick by overeating too much chocolate. And it does it quite quickly now. Whereas before, it's just, you don't have that off button. Like, it doesn't ever turn too sweet in your mouth. It actually gets better and better and better. So that is the biggest giveaway, I think, to a thyroid condition, and that is the way chocolate tastes. Okay, number 2, sleep. This is a really big indicator. I literally, oh my God, I lived like this for years. I used to lay in bed at night. So I would go to bed and I would lay in my bed trying to sort of trick my brain into dreaming. So I would try and, imagine like really good things, like what chocolate I was going to eat next, I guess tomorrow. Or yeah, I would like, imagine winning the lottery and things like that. I'd lay there and I'd try and trick my brain into dreaming and falling asleep. And literally I would lay there for hours. Now, when you're hypothyroid, you can still have insomnia, but the difference is you could have an 8-hour night's sleep and then the next day wake up, and then it gets to about 10:30, maybe even 11, and all of a sudden, if you lay down, you will fall asleep for like an hour. You could get heaps and heaps of sleep. So it's like the opposites between hyper and hypo. Okay? Okay, number 3, and that is weight gain or weight loss. Okay, so this is undoubtedly the biggest symptom, and it's also the one that gets me the most angry, because I can't stand it when I see on YouTube or Instagram, they think they have hypothyroid because they can't lose like a huge amount of weight. No. Okay, so first we may as well talk about hypothyroid weight gain. So if you have a hypothyroid, this is what the weight gain struggles are like. Going to the gym for a whole year, every single day, doing high intensity aerobics workouts and eating nothing but salads and not losing any weight. Like nothing. That happened to me. Very common. Another one, eating nothing but salads, right? Even when you're not hungry, so not having an appetite. So eating very little and then gaining weight. That's hypothyroid, weight gain. So it's not like, oh, okay, I can't lose that extra 5 kilos. It's like crazy weight gain, crazy, like unable to lose weight. Okay? That's hypothyroid. Hyperthyroid, you know how earlier I was talking about those incredible like chocolate feasts? Okay, so when you're hyperthyroid, you can eat copious amounts of chocolate and not gain any weight. So not only was I having these amazing, incredible like chocolate binges when I was hyperthyroid, I didn't gain any weight. And I used to always have chocolate in my handbag. I would have chocolate every single day, and I didn't ever gain weight from it. Chocolate never made me gain weight. Yeah. But in saying that, people that have Graves, for example, and if they have like a very strong case of hyperthyroid, you literally just do not gain anything. You can eat whatever and like not gain a single kilo. I have a family member that happened to. Okay, let's move on to number 4, and that is anxiety and depression. Okay, so this is I want to kind of talk about this in a real sort of delicate kind of way, as delicate as I can, because I know anxiety and depression is, again, it's so individual and unique. But now that I've sort of like lived both sides of the spectrum, hyper and hypo, there is definitely a difference. Okay, so let's start with hyper. This is the best way that I can describe it. When you're hyperthyroid, you have more aggression. So things agitate you more. You'll find that you're kind of like constantly being agitated by people and feeling like things just aren't going your way, that people just don't make you happy, they make you angry. That is definitely the best way that I can pinpoint it. And when those things are going on, it's really hard to to sort of spot them while they're happening. So again, if you're feeling that right now, I feel for you, because it's what you really just tell yourself that it's not real, and that it's because of this chemical imbalancement, this sort of your hormones not being balanced. Okay, so when you're hypothyroid, the anxiety and the depression is a little bit different. And this is the best way that I can describe it for hypo. You know, in those moments where you're kind of like, everyone has the moments when you're still. So for example, if you catch the bus to work, or the train, or in America you guys call it the subway, or the tube, when you're on the tube or the subway, when you're sitting down in that moment and there's just stillness, so to speak, so it's just you and your mind, you find yourself constantly thinking about what you did the day before. And not just what you did, but conversations that you had with random strangers. Say it was the ticket guy that you just bought a train ticket from. Who buys tickets anymore these days? Everyone has those passes. But it could be, you know, like on the way to the tube that morning, you stopped by to a little kind of like news stand and bought some chewing gum, and you might have made a joke with the, you know, store guy, and you find that you're constantly replaying these conversations that you have with complete strangers. You're replaying these conversations in your mind, and you're starting to criticize yourself. So your internal dialogue is sort of starting to sound like, oh my gosh, he must have thought you were a complete idiot. So if you find that you're doing that, that's often an indication that something's not right. And the good news is, if you're experiencing this right now, tell yourself that it is not real. Those thoughts are completely not real. You're having those lull periods because your vitamin levels, your hormones are not balanced, and it's so easy to fix. Okay? It's so easy to fix. Okay, so the last indication that I tell anybody that they can spot is body aches. Okay, so this was something that I guess it more applies to, I want to say it more applies to being hypothyroid. Body aches are like, they're not just like having a bad back or just sort of, you know, like your legs hurting. No, it's like, some people even describe it as arthritis, having arthritis. It's feeling, I'm going to put this down. It's feeling joint pain everywhere that you like, where you have like a ligament, like a joint. So I remember when I became hypothyroid, and I had sort of like a period where my body wasn't absorbing the thyroxine. So my body went into a real hypo storm. I could feel pain in my toes, in my pinky toes, where it would bend. I would go like this, and it was excruciatingly painful. Every little joint in your fingers, in your toes, as I just said, in your knees, like everywhere that bends is painful. Walking, when you walk, you feel these like, as your feet kind of like, you know, move, you feel these like niggly little like sharp pains running through your body. That's another indicator, more for the hypo side. The hyper side, even though, you know, you just don't have stamina, like even though like you can't rest, you still do get body aches. So you go to exercise and you just are completely fatigued. It's strange. That is hyperthyroid. Okay guys, so that's it. They're my best ways that I just describe the symptoms of having some sort of hypothyroid condition or a hyperthyroid condition. Again, as I said, I really hope I've been able to help anyone that's watching this right now. What else can I tell you? I don't know what I'll do next. If you've got any questions, put them down below, and I hope that I'll see you guys soon.